In this video lecture, we learn the topic loops in flow graphs. It is from Unit 5 and textbook topic number is 10.4. So started with the first topic, the dominator. In this section, we mainly discuss the different things related to the loops, how loop can be optimized here. And to optimization we need to be analysis the loop. Here we learn there are different definitions related to the loop and how they are the advantages in transforming the code into a good performance one. So started with the dominator. If we take the word English word dominate, that means that a person by pressure or through impression or by mentally impact on another person. So it's a type of a domination. So that can be say that a person A is dominate the another person B. So if I consider that there is a node A and after that another node B and there is a arrow key from or the control flow from A to B is given, then we can say that A dominate B. It also explains that A comes before the B, or in a reverse word we can say B comes after the A. So it says that A dominates B. So how you write it? Simply note down that A dom B. So as per the slide, the written as, suppose there are two nodes D and N, then D dom N. Now if you preserve this information into a tree, this dominator information, if you preserve in a tree, that tree is known as a dominator tree. And you remember one most important property of that, suppose there are number of nodes are available. So I am considering each node N has a unique immediate dominator M, and that is the last dominator of N on any path from the entry node to N. So that means I can say in terms of relationship that if there is an immediate dominator available M and D is a node and N is another node, and D is, that means D is not equals to N and D dominates N, that means D also dominates the M, as M is we consider as an immediate dominator. That means D dominate M and N. Now here we consider a flow graph and try to explain our dominator concept. If you identify this flow graph, there are total 10 nodes are available and the flow graph is started with the node number 1. And what do you identify? There are some forward edges and there are some backward edges are there. And you try to identify one more thing, that how the nodes are dominate each other. One dominate, that is the entry point, it dominates everyone because it's the first node. Now consider the second. Second dominate itself. Since control can reach any other node along a path that begins with 1 to 3. That means from 1 TO2 to 3. It may skip the path that is go through the node number 2. So number 2 node is actually dominate itself. Same way 1 also dominate the 3. Number 4, the node number 4, it's actually dominated by 3, the immediate dominator, but it dominates 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The whom it immediate dominates, they are 5, 6 and 7. But one thing more need to be understand, that 4 directly go to 7 in terms of it can use any of the routes, either 5 or 6. So 5 and 6 are not going to dominate the 7. it simply justifies that 4 is going to directly dominate the 7, because two alternative paths are there. And you further again proceed from 8, 8 can dominate 9 and 10, and 10 self dominate, 9 also self dominate. So after analyzing all these things, a dominated tree is created for the given flow graph. What do you identify? That this tree structure store the dominator information. You identify the node number 2 is self dominated but not dominate any other one. In the same way, the 5th and 6th, as they are the alternative to each other, so they are self dominated and not going to dominate the 7. In the same way, the 9 and 10 dominate themselves only, no other nodes they introduce. So this is a dominator tree structure. Remember the definition of dominator tree. It's a very useful one to analyze how the control flows. Now the next definition is natural loops. So this one is the important application of a dominator information. Here, in determining the loops of a flow graph suitable for improvement. So that was an important one. So essential property that a loop must have a single entry point, and it is known as a header, which entry point dominates all the nodes in the loop. In the loop means inside the loop. And another one is must be at least one path that can able to iterate the loop. That must be a one path back to the header. So backage is important here. Now the example to be considered for the natural loop. If you remember, in our flow graph, there are a number of packages are available. One of them, like 7 to 4, there is a package, and you know that 4 dominate the 7. Similarly, there is a package from 10 to 7, and 7 dominate 10. So other also they available there. You just go through it, that flow graph. So if you identify all the different types of packages are there, and it satisfies the definition of a natural loop, then we can again say that if there is a package is given n to d, so we define the natural loop. So d plus the set of all the nodes that can reach n without going through d, and the d node is the header of the loop. So from this example, it is justify the definition of the loop, and it's able to identify the what are the loops available, and that can be optimized. Now the next topic is inner loop. I hope everyone remember the definition of the nested loop. Nested loop says there is a one loop and inside there is another loop, and after finishing that inner loop, it moves to the outer loop, and after that the loops finishes. So that definition is elaborated here in the sense that there is a very useful property. Unless two loops have the same header, they are either disjoint or one is entirely contained nested within the other. Thus, neglecting loop with the same header for the moment, we have a natural notion of inner loop. So one that contains no other loop. That it is actually described that in the inner loop, inside there is no other loop. So as we know already from our programming that there are different type of nested level, but there is a single inner loop is available. After that, inside that, no other loop. So it is tried to explain by this definition. Now treat a special case for the inner loop is a special example. Sometimes it is a situation that it is hard to tell which one is the inner loop. Means what we identify that two loops have the same header. So suppose consider this example. Here is a diagram is given where the 4 basic blocks is available, B0 to B1, B2, B3, and if suppose B1 there is an at the end of it a test condition was there, if A equals to 10, go to B2. So after the B2 it moves directly to the B0, and we identify that maximum times it follow this path B0, B1 and B2, and there one of the chances that it uses B0, B1, B3 and B0. So this type of situation may arises where very critical to tell the which one is an inner loop. Now next topic is pre-header. This is another definition. Pre-header actually what is doing, that suppose we're trying to optimize the loop, and sometimes some calculations are there available and we want to move that out of the loop. So what we actually doing, that we create a header before the original loop header, and that is known as the pre-header. And header has only one successor, that is known as the header, and all edges which formally enter the header of the L from outside the L. Here we can say L is the actual header of the loop. So actually all the control lines are directly coming to the header of the original loop, but due to creating a header before the header, so that we some code shifted from the loop to these type of transformation does to improvise the loop, improvise in terms of increase the performance or the speed of the loop. So we created a pre-header before the header. So now all the control links come to the new pre-header. So that can be reflected with an example. See that original loop, before creating a pre-header, all the control lines at the header, and the loop goes on continue. When we shifting out some code and create a pre-header, all the control lines now follow to the pre-header, and pre-header is only one successor, that is known as a header. Here is your learning by doing section. The question, read it and first write the answer in your copy. Before that, pause the video and then write your answer, and after that play again the video. I hope you write the answer in your copy. Now match the answer. The answer is dominator. Now the next definition is reducible flow graph. Here reducible flow graph is that if and only if it satisfies the two property, then that flow graph is called as a reducible flow graph. So what are those property? So before describing that two property, we have to first partition the edges of the existing flow graph into two disjoint groups. First group represent the forward edges and second group represent the back edges or backward edges. So after defining that, so it satisfies the two property. From all the forward edges, if we draw a graph, it must be a acyclic graph. If it is a acyclic graph, it is a good. It means it holds the property. And back edges consist of all those edges whose head dominates their tail. So means if there is no cycle exist in a graph, after drawing a graph with the forward edges only, then that graph is known as reducible flow graph. So I am lefting the exercise as an exercise to identify the such kind of graph which are known as reducible flow graph. You can analyze the existing one. Now here is an example for non-reducible flow graph. Suppose you take this an example as the graph is given. There are three nodes and you identify that one dominates both them, 2 and 3. But see the problem that 2 dominates 3 and obviously 3 dominates 2. It is reflectant. We cannot say it's a back edge because this is a typical structure. Now for the key property of reducible flow graph for loop analysis is that In such flow graphs, every set of nodes that we would informally regarded as a loop must contain a backage. But if we examine here only the natural loops of back-edges, in order to find all the loops in a program, whose flow graph is reducible. But this not satisfy this graph as an example. So these type of situation may arises, and if you try to create a disjoint set, it is not possible here, and the graph it generate with the forward edges, it always a cyclic one, so it doesn't satisfy any property. So you can say it's a non-reducible flow graph. Finally, I have one thing to say, that if you have any question related to this topic, simply mail me my official ID, or you just ask a question in my live lecture. Till then, happy learning.